get to make choices that aligns with your purpose, your passion, okay, and who you are authentically. Because everybody deserves to show up as who they are without any fear of being judged by anybody. I want to welcome you to Raw Honey. I want to ask you, is life working out for you the way that you want it to? Are you claiming your birthright by living a life that's fulfilling, happy, and peaceful? Because let me remind you, that is exactly what you deserve. You get to choose the perspectives that will work for you, that will help you into creating the life of your dreams. So thank you so much for allowing me to share my thoughts, to be real, raw, and vulnerable with you. I really cannot wait to dive into this week's topic. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. Welcome to episode 16. Let's talk about the dilemmas of wanting to satisfy both your culture and who you are trying to become authentically, because they don't always align. It's such a loaded conversation. It's so tough, I guess. I remember it took a lot for me to kind of break out of the mindset of having to just satisfy my culture, because essentially I was living to just gain the validation and approval and acceptance. And all I wanted to hear was that I was a good Asian girl. I am first generation Asian American. I was born in California and my parents are both born in Vietnam. They came in the 80s and 90s and I was born in the 90s. So growing up, I grew up in the Vietnamese culture and it was very strict. There was a lot expected from me. And of course, I bought into a lot of the beliefs because as a child, you don't know any better. You eat up what is fed to you. But then the beliefs that never sat well with me, that never sat right with me. And I've always had a very strong sense of like curiosity. And when I was younger, I was quite rebellious, and I used to carry a lot of shame and guilt around being like rebellious, not listening to my parents, questioning everything, breaking out of molds. But then now I just see it as me just having a very strong sense of self and just not betraying who I am or how I felt at the time, right? It never sat right with me, some things, and I had to do something about it. And although I did it in a very, I chose very unhealthy ways to cope with like not wanting to conform to culture or society. But that was the best that I knew how to do as a teenager. Yesterday, oh my gosh, I spoke to these amazing human beings yesterday. Culture got brought up and it resonated so much with me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, if anybody, I understand what it feels like to feel like culture kind of stands in the way of me wanting to bloom and blossom into the person that I want to become the most, right? Because what if that means that it's not satisfying culture? What if, according to culture, that's not how you should do things, but that's how I want to do things? So what the hell? So do I get to do what I want to do, living in a state of shame, or what? And honestly, I feel like it took a lot, but I finally learned how to respect my culture and respectfully honor myself and to be authentically myself, because I have learned to cultivate this relationship, right, with myself, to where I trust myself to make decisions for my life, right? And it's very easy to kind of fall into the trap of like, oh, but an elder is telling me that I have to do this or I get to do that, but I don't feel it in my bones that that's what I want to do. And so a lot of people fall into the trap of like just listening to what authorities tell them, an elder figure, what culture tells them, what society tells them, and they kind of just like eat it up. And it's all to satisfy like this shame state of not being enough, right? So you're constantly needing like outside sources to tell you what you have to do in order to feel good about yourself. But I find that there's so much power in learning how to cultivate this relationship with yourself, right? This higher power within yourself. I believe all of us have it. This innate knowingness, this gut instinct, this knowingness that guides us, our guiding light that helps us through life. And the more we learn to trust ourselves, right, and to develop this relationship with ourselves, oh my gosh, then the less input that we need from the outside world to tell us if we're doing things right, right? I honestly come from a place where I needed to ask for everybody's opinion about things before I would make a choice, right? And that was just a reflection of how much I didn't trust in myself. That was just a reflection of how inauthentically I was living, because everybody else's approval seemed to matter more than how I approved of myself, right? And that to me is the ultimate way to betray yourself, and it just doesn't sit right. And so my criteria for whether or not I want to adopt a belief, now that I'm 30 and I'm learning what works for me, honestly, is to ask, what is the intention behind each teaching, each belief, right? What is the intention? What is the why? What is the ultimate reason why this belief is in place? What is the ultimate reason why this is a thing? If the reason and the intention behind the belief is genuine and pure and is meant to make me a better person, a good person at the core, and it sits right with me, I appreciate it, and I might adopt it. I might not, but it's up to me, right? I don't need anybody else's approval to let me know, oh yeah, you're doing a great job because you are this and this and that, right? If it works for me, then it works for me, right? If it makes sense to me, then it makes sense to me. And that's the ultimate way of being authentically myself, okay? Because no longer will I let culture or society tell me what I have to do, right? And just because I don't just conform easily, it does not make me a bad person. And I know that doesn't make me a bad girl. And nobody gets to tell me that. And if you do, that's just a reflection of how you feel about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me feel bad because you don't have the power to break out of molds yourself. I truly believe that everybody deserves to be who they want to be with no limits, not being boxed in. Why are we boxing ourselves in? And why are we limiting ourselves, right? If it serves you, cool. If not, then why are we doing it? It's just such a trap, in my opinion. It's such a trap. And whereas before, even thinking about being this way that I am right now, I couldn't even fathom. It was definitely not a thing, not something I was striving for. Although, like, deep down at the core, I've always known that I just want to be myself. I just want to be myself, right? Whatever that looked like. I didn't even know what it looked like. This was not a thing for little Christine, because all I wanted to do was to conform because that's what I was told I should do. But at the same time, my highest self was like, are you sure you want to? So there was always that internal conflict. And so it was natural for me to grow up living in a state of shame, right? And guilt, feeling guilty. Now I get to make my choices. Now I get to show up authentically anywhere I go, being open-minded, knowing that I get to choose whatever the hell I want that makes the most sense to me. Okay. And nobody has that power over me to tell me that that's not good enough or that's not right. Mind your own business. And I am so proud of myself for being able to cultivate such an amazingly deep connection with myself to where I trust myself. Okay. And I believe that everybody deserves this. To the teenagers that I was able to talk to, I just want to give you guys a quick shout out. You guys are so amazing, and I love that you guys are so in tune with yourself already. And the fact that you're having these internal battles within yourself, it just shows how deep you are and how human you are and how much you just want to live your life authentically. You're trying to satisfy two worlds right now. And the best advice I can give you, honestly, is to learn to trust yourself. have faith in yourself and your guiding light, because your guiding light will never lead you down the wrong path. Okay, it might feel like the wrong path because you feel like you're betraying another part of you, which is like your culture and authority figures in society and stuff. But deep down inside, you know what the answer is for yourself. Okay, and you get to love yourself so much that you get to voice why you want to do what you want to do for yourself to your loved ones, especially if they don't agree. And if they don't see eye to eye, then it is actually not, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their own fears and limiting beliefs and, everything that they've learned since they were a child, everything that they believe to be true, but that's their life, right? You get to live your life and you get to make choices that aligns with your purpose, your passion, okay, and who you are authentically, because everybody deserves to show up as who they are without any fear of being judged by anybody, not even the closest people in their circle. Because I guarantee you, if people do not accept you for who you are authentically, if you have to put a mask on to be accepted, not your people, okay? And if you realize that the closest people to you turn out to not be your people, I promise you, you can learn to love people from far away. My coach told me these are like the coffee every 2-3 months type of people instead of like a daily type of friend or family, right? You can love people from far away, especially if they do not aid and cultivate your growth and your success and your ability to embody the highest version of yourself, right? Because it's your job to create your community, to find those who are able to help you become the best version of yourself, because you deserve to live authentically and to become the best version of yourself, because that not only serves you, but it serves everyone around you, and it's going to impact so many lives that you can't even imagine. Okay, so it is your duty to live authentically as yourself. You get to choose. You get to make the choices. You get to be open-minded enough to listen and to hear, right? All these beliefs around the world. There are so many cultures. You get to pick and choose after listening, being open-minded, right? Let it process through your body. If it works for you, do something with it. If it doesn't work with you, do not feel guilty for not wanting to adopt it, because you know damn well that is not something that serves you. It might work for someone else, but it doesn't mean that it has to work with you. And do not put that pressure on yourself to have to satisfy anybody, anything outside of you. Okay? If you want to, then go ahead. But if you don't want to, then please listen to yourself and please just show up for yourself. Because that is the ultimate way to live. That is the ultimate state of happiness, joy, freedom, when you learn to 100% have faith in trusting yourself, because this higher power within you will never fail you, ever. It is the most amazing compass, guiding light that you could ever cultivate a relationship with. And that just came straight from the heart. It came from the heart, and I hope that it serves those that is meant to serve. This concludes episode 16. I will see you guys for episode 17. Hey!